Are they doing that because Biden is at a big disadvantage?
Yes,
they do.
They have to control the situation to give him a fucking fighting chance. And also, when it's not your turn, your mic cuts out.
Nice.
Okay.
Many people were dying. All he said was, "It's not that serious. Just inject a little bleach in your arm.
Right.
It'll be all right."
Right? Did he fuck up the first sentence?
The total initiative relative to what we can do, more border patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either. Look, we had the safest border in the history of our country. But all he had to do was leave it. All he had to do was leave it.
In a way, it's better for them to have each state having their own kind of law when it comes to this. Because what
Like
if you're
you
in
said,
one of a
cultures.
state that you want to get an abortion but you can't, it's illegal.
They just moved
to another one.
Exactly. You just have the option to just, all right, I'm going over there, I'm going to get it done, come back, done.
And
President
it's a very
Biden?
sad day in America.
President Biden, you have the mic.
Every single thing he said is a lie. Every single lie. For example, veterans are a hell of a lot better.
Bro, this is a
off.
joke.
Pass the pack out.
Wait.
Oh no!
We're going to watch the
bro.
Biden thing.
All right.
We're going to watch the
I've
debate.
watched it.
You watched it.
I've fucking
You shouldn't
watched
have
all of
watched
it.
The
it,
debate,
bro.
yeah?
So this is what
I
we're
haven't
doing
watched it.
At the
today.
end, he said.
I haven't watched it. Let's watch it.
I haven't
Don't
watched it
ruin
either.
anything. I haven't watched it. I haven't watched anything.
Okay.
Bro, I've been telling the whole barbershop to watch this shit for the whole past week.
And I think
I was
it's
like, you want to laugh? Watch the debate, the new debate.
When are the new elections?
Now,
Like this year?
yeah, now it's happening.
Yeah? It's been 4 years since Biden, yeah?
Yeah,
Thank
4
God.
years of
Like, I need-
complete.
just clown show. Just
Fail.
a fucking clown show.
all right. So
Let's watch it first.
So
that's
what
what
is-
we're doing. We're gonna watch
is it
the
Trump
live
against
debate.
Biden now?
Yes,
Yeah,
2024. Trump versus Biden.
It's a rematch.
Live debate. I think it was. It was maybe a couple of weeks ago, a week ago. I don't know.
It was a week ago.
And I haven't watched it. You've watched it.
I've watched it,
but
bro.
keep it. You know.
Yeah, I'm
let
saying.
us enjoy it.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
it fun?
Oh
because
my-
that's why I want to watch it. I have an
How long
expectation.
is it?
If confusing
An
is
hour,
fun,
An hour and some.
Yeah, it's
Confusing.
fun.
Yeah,
It's fun.
It's fun. All right.
Are we watching the whole thing or highlights?
no, it's
The whole
fucking.
thing.
We got, that's the episode
It's
today.
that's the episode of
Okay.
the day. Yeah.
Cool.
So for the people on Spotify and on the audio platforms, the audio is going to be available to them. So they're going to be listening to exactly what we're listening to and pausing and all that, exactly how we're experiencing it.
Okay.
And for the people on YouTube, they're going to be able to watch it. There's going to be a small.
Oh, you're going to put a little
I'm
thing
going
on
to
the
put it
bottom.
there, so it's
Cool.
going to be there on top of our footage. And yeah,
Oh,
don't forget to
bro.
like, subscribe, follow, leave comments. We've gotten some nice controversial comments from the last video.
Did we?
Yeah, because we've offended Christmas for a lot of people.
Oh, yeah, how?
And people take Christmas very, very,
Yeah.
very seriously.
What they saying?
Nothing. It's
Oh,
just
you
they
need
took
to do your
offense to it.
research.
Yeah, you know,
Bro,
like shit
right,
like that.
let's just say this quick. We're not the Rogan show, right?
No.
And we're not here to analyze exactly the dates and the facts and we generally speak. Hopefully it's funny. We're not talking much facts, you know. There's
try
some truth.
to
Yeah,
be-
there's some truth behind
yeah.
what we say, but it's not like, you know, I've done my
But
research
at the
about
end
we're
of
not
the day, it's
fact-checking
just
every
our-
single thing.
Yeah, it's our opinion.
Yeah, it's our opinion.
The way we receive the information from the world, right? So
Pretty much.
Yeah. So that's it. You
One of
fix
the best
focus.
ones with Ben Stiller and Tom Cruise is what's the what? Tropical Thunder.
Tropic Thunder.
Tropic Thunder.
Yeah, with Robert Downey Jr. He
a-
does blackface.
Oh.
He does. Yeah, but he
that's
does,
one of my favorite
it's-
fucking
You know what?
films.
For the crowd out there, blackface in Tropic Thunder is actually the best blackface ever made, because if you think about it, it's a psychotic actor, white actor, doing the blackface.
But he's not-
And
he-
obviously,
he-
it's Robert Downey Jr.
But
doing the blackface.
he's not
but
just putting makeup on, like he did the
he
surgery.
embodies it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No,
he's-
he did the surgery.
He did a surgery,
Yeah,
like
yeah. Yep.
reverse Michael Jackson.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. So,
reverse Michael Jackson.
that's
Yeah.
Quite
describes
accurate.
it.
But Michael, you've changed. People change. No,
No, not like this.
No one changes 5 shades of darkness in like 5 years, bro. It just don't happen.
No.
So, Biden versus Trump 2024.
It's gonna be a fun one.
All right. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave comments down below. Tell us your opinion about this debate. Let's get ready. We're recording, yeah?
Woo!
For viewers at home. At the end of the
Oh,
debate,
and-
each candidate will get
We're not perfect audio engineers, so there might be some feedback. So go fuck yourself if it's a problem. Thank
Yeah.
you. Bye.
2 minutes for closing statements. There is no studio
They build it
audience.
up like it's a boxing fight.
Yeah. Get ready.
Well,
They'll have 2 minutes.
they also need the views.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, I feel like we live in idiocracy.
Oh yeah.
Like
we're
more
heading,
and more.
We're heading there for
Like
sure.
this is how it
No, you
was.
mean
kind of
we
thing.
live in a-
Ella, look. That's
With-
the big dog.
That is the commander of office.
The commander in chief.
In chief, sorry. The commander in chief. The
Bro, he looks
The
fake.
Alpha and Omega.
President of the United States, Donald Trump.
There we go.
Like a heavyweight walking in the
Yeah,
ring.
yeah, yeah.
It's like,
Let's get ready.
I'm about to fuck this guy up.
First of all, he shouldn't even be here.
Gentlemen, thanks so much for being here. Let's begin the debate, and let's start with the issue that voters consistently say is their top concern, the economy. President Biden,
talk about
inflation
money.
has slowed,
There's no
but
crowd.
prices remain high.
No.
Since you took office,
So, just for everyone to know, they've
Deliberately.
they've deliberately had no crowd, as you just noticed.
Yeah.
And also, they speak in turn.
Are they doing that because Biden
Because-
is at a big disadvantage?
Yes,
If they do.
They have to
Yeah.
control the situation to give him a fucking fighting chance.
But it doesn't
too much
know.
confusion, and also when it's not your turn, your mic cuts out.
Noise.
Right? So,
So
it's
not
a
noise.
real debate.
So they've calmed Trump
You know
down.
when you go bowling and,
And
you're
you-
either a kid or an older
Yeah, you
person,
get the
And
rails.
you put the rails.
Yeah.
They had to put
For
the
Biden.
rails.
For Biden. Well, this is I don't know. I want
doesn't
Trump
seem-
to
It's not
go.
for Biden,
No,
bro.
no, hold on.
it-
Have they done this in any other previous election?
No, because they didn't have
previous
to.
debates.
No, because
So
they
this
did-
is a first.
probably.
No, because bro, until the Obama days, and correct me if I'm wrong, whatever. It wasn't about your personal life. At this point, Donald Trump might speak about how ugly your wife is. Do you
He
understand
did.
what I mean?
He
That's
did.
fair.
Which he has
Yeah,
done.
but you're allowed to.
Do you know what I mean?
So,
So
yeah.
that's why, because it's not a traditional fucking it's personal now.
This is bullshit.
You're gonna
essentials
see.
has increased. For example, a basket of groceries that cost $100 then now costs more than $120. And typical home prices have jumped more than 30%. What do you say to voters who feel they are worse off
This is the
under
Biden.
your presidency than they were under President Trump?
We got to take a look at what I was left when I became president, and what Mr. Trump left me. We had an economy that was in free fall. The pandemic was so badly handled. Many people were dying. All he said was, it's not that serious. Just inject a little bleach into your arm.
Right.
You'll be all right.
Right? Did he fuck up the first sentence? What I left, he said.
No, what
he
I
was
got left.
No, what I
had
had left.
Is that what he said? in the
Yeah,
beginning?
he was
yeah.
right. It made sense.
All right.
No, it made sense.
Yeah.
I'll catch him. Don't worry.
Okay.
There were no jobs. Unemployment rate
He's
rose
reading
to
all of this,
15%.
by the way.
Yeah.
It was terrible. And so what we had to do is try to put things back together again. And that's exactly what we began to do.
Look at
We
Trump.
created
Yeah, he didn't do it
15,000
though,
new
did he?
jobs. We brought out a position where we
Right,
have
right. In 4 years,
He created-
in a country like America of 300 some million, almost 400 million, they have managed to create
15,000 jobs, Chris. Don't diss it.
in 4 years.
Do not diss it. That's
Yeah,
15,000
yeah,
people
great stuff.
more. that are
Where we
working.
have 800 what?
1,000 new manufacturing jobs, but there's more to be done.
Bullshit.
There's more to be
I call
done.
bullshit on
Working class
800
people are still in
manufacturing
trouble.
jobs.
I come from Scranton, Pennsylvania. I come of a household where the kitchen table
Another fact that you need to know that they didn't used to do at this extent is lie. Because people would check on them, and before there used to be a gentleman's agreement, and you had pride, and your word was your this. So now, if you see, like at the end of it, Donald Trump has been caught lying about 58 times, and Biden has been caught lying, a certain amount of times, and it's just regular. It's a part of their fucking speech, as if nothing's happening.
It's the,
Yeah, but that's just politicians, though. Nothing new here.
Yeah,
it's
but
just more in the open.
It's
just-
the
yeah.
news networks now being under the party payroll.
Yeah, but this is
Right?
Yeah,
so
but
the
you would
news
think-
networks, they
You
encourage
would,
this.
you would think the leaders of the free world understand that you're not supposed to lie, and that's
No.
the
Bro,
the level's just
America-
as it's regular people.
Andoni, America's just a movie. It's like
It's
it's
a
not a
movie.
real place. Honestly, it
go.
feels like a
things weren't
movie.
able to be met during the month. It was a problem. Price of eggs, the price of gas, the price of housing, the price of a whole range of things. That's why I'm working so hard to make sure I deal with those problems. and we're going to make sure that we reduce the price of housing. We're going to make
How?
sure we
Yeah.
build 2 million new
Well,
units.
just promises.
We're gonna make sure
I'm
we
gonna do
cap
this, do
rents
that, do that.
so corporate greed
How?
can't take over. The combination, what I was left with in corporate greed is the reason why we're in this problem right now. In addition to that, we're in a situation where if you take a look at all that was done in his administration, he didn't do much at all. By the time he left, there's
It's getting personal now.
Literally chaos. And so we put things back together.
You
We
can't
created,
wait.
I said,
Biden's
these jobs
throwing
and
shade
make
here,
sure
man.
We had a situation where
Oh, you
we
wait.
now
Yeah,
we
I am.
brought down the price of prescription
Look, he looks
drugs,
well
which is a
calm,
major
Trump.
issue for many people.
He's enjoying
To
it.
Oh, yeah.
$15 for an insulin shot as opposed to $400. No senior has to pay more than $200 for any drug, all the drugs they can include beginning next year. In a situation,
Stumbling.
and we're going to make that available to everybody, to all Americans. So we're working to bring down the price of around the kitchen table, and that's what we're going to get done.
Thank you. President Trump?
We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. We have never done so well. Everybody was amazed by it. Other countries were copying us. We got
Facts.
hit with
Facts.
COVID.
They were amazed.
And
by
We got
me.
hit with COVID.
Spent the money necessary so we wouldn't end up in a Great Depression, the likes of which we had in 1929. By the time we finished, so we did a great job. We got a lot of credit for the economy, a lot of credit for the military, and no wars, and so many other things. Everything was rocking good. But the thing we
He's
never
not
got
wrong.
the credit for,
Yeah.
and we should have, is getting us out of that COVID mess. He created mandates that was a disaster for our country. But other than that, we had given them back a country where the stock market actually was higher than pre-COVID, and nobody thought that was even possible. The only jobs he created are for illegal immigrants and bounce back jobs, and bounce back from the COVID. He has not done a good job. He's done a poor job, and inflation's killing our country. It is absolutely killing us.
Thank you. President Biden?
Well, look, the greatest economy in the world. He's the only one who thinks that, I think. I don't know anybody else who thinks he had the greatest economy in the world. And, the fact of the matter
That's
is
very
that,
confident of your.
we found ourselves in a situation.
Did you see that? He went. You don't see that.
No, put it back.
And, the fact of the matter is that we found ourselves in a situation where
Is that on microphone?
his economy,
Microphone.
He coughed first and then he put his hand. And then he kept it there.
Why?
Because his brain's just not picking up the signals quick enough.
Their body.
Yeah, the
It's like,
brain can't.
lift the arm. Okay. 1 second. Here it comes.
It's because
over.
He's focusing on talking.
It's too much. The RAM is being used somewhere else.
Right, the RAM. He needs a bigger,
He
the
needs
capacity.
faster RAM.
yeah.
Faster RAM. That's
Bro,
it. That's gonna fix it.
By the time the signals, the cough was over. But
Yeah,
he was
right.
left here.
Because it was a little cough.
But he was left here. So now,
And he's like, oh, put it back. Put it back. He's like, okay,
Paul
okay.
Bishop, I know. Let me use it as a gesture now.
It's
Yeah,
an
yeah.
intent of statement.
Oh my god.
he had the largest tax cut in American history, $2 trillion. He raised a deficit larger than any president has in any one term.
Oh, here we go now.
He's the
He's
only
throwing
president
shade
other
proper.
than Herbert Hoover, who's lost more jobs than he had when he began, since Herbert Hoover. The idea that he did something that was significant in the military. When he was president, they were still killing people in Afghanistan. He didn't do anything about that. When he was president, we were still finding
Didn't he
ourselves
pull
in
him
a
out?
position where
They
we
were
had
still killing
a
people in
notion that-
Afghanistan.
Like he just
Not
picked
us.
up the.
Not our people.
He's
This
got
is
us
the
very.
only president
obviously.
this century that doesn't have any this decade that done any troops
From century
dying
to
anywhere
decade.
in
Yep.
the world like he did.
President Trump, I want to follow up if I can. You
Am I
want
allowed to respond to him?
Well, I'm going to ask you a follow-up. You can do whatever you want with the minute that we give you. I want to follow up. You want to impose a 10% tariff on all goods coming into the U.S. How will you ensure that that doesn't drive prices even higher?
It's not going to drive them higher. It's just going to cost countries that have been ripping us off for years, like China and many others, in all fairness to China.
Like, I'll do that. It's like, first of all, I know business, shut up.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
going to go over. I know what I'm doing. I've got $7 billion in the bank. Shut
We've
the
been,
fuck up.
yeah, we've been charging
Like-
a very low price. We can raise our
Bam,
prices.
bam,
Let's
bam,
go.
bam,
Like,
bam, bam, bam. Right?
going to just force them to pay us a lot of money, reduce our deficit tremendously, and give us a lot of power for other things. But he made a statement. The only thing he was right about is I gave you the largest tax cut in history. I also gave you the largest regulation cut in history. That's why we had all the jobs. And the jobs went down and then they bounced back, and he's taking credit for bounce back jobs. You can't do that. He also said he inherited 9% inflation. No, he inherited almost no inflation, and it stayed that way for 14 months. And then it blew up under his leadership because they spent money like a bunch of people that didn't know what they were doing, and they don't know what they were doing. It was the worst, probably the worst administration in history. There's never been. And as far as Afghanistan is concerned, I was getting out of Afghanistan, but we were getting out with dignity, with strength, with power. He got out. It was the most embarrassing day in the history of our country's life.
President
And
Trump,
by the
over
way,
la-
by the way, we're not Trump, Donald, but as Shane Gillis says, you gotta admit, he's fucking funny.
He's funny. He's good.
He's got good answers.
Look, I think it makes sense as well because the example he just said, I think when Obama pulled out of Afghanistan, whatever, and they just done it from one day to the next, that allowed
They
like
left
the
a bunch of shit
Taliban,
behind.
and
Yeah.
it allowed ISIS to be like, oh, great. You know,
Yeah.
let's go.
Yeah, they're
Bro,
gone. Let's
everything's
fuck shit up
unstable.
now.
Whereas he's like, it took time for us to get out because we wanted
We had
to
to
leave
leave
with
things in
dignity and make
control.
sure that everything's working. Like,
You know, we didn't
you
just
know,
fucking leave
we
when
didn't
we
just
were done.
get out.
Just
It's like,
pack
all
up.
right, thank you.
How did
It's
that
like,
go
sorry
down?
for the kids.
How did
Sorry
that
about
order
the
go
pew-pews.
down when they cleared them out? Like next day.
Yeah, like
they just called them up. They're like,
next,
all right,
next
pack
day.
up, let's go.
I don't know next
Like,
day,
how-
but quick. What
Within
took-
a couple
what-
days, bro.
what
Like,
took-
they left in a rush.
Yes, what
You know?
took decades to set up.
Yeah, they just-
because they've been there since the fucking 90s, 80s, end of Cold War, whatever. Yeah, and they just left.
Yeah.
Gone.
You know,
as if
gone.
no trace of them. They were never there.
You know, good luck.
8 years
We got what
under
we
both
wanted.
of your administrations, the national debt soared to record highs. And according to a new nonpartisan analysis, President Trump, your administration approved $8.4 trillion in new debt, while so far, President Biden, you've approved $4.3 trillion in new debt. So, former President Trump, many of the tax cuts that you signed into law are set to expire next year. You want to extend them and go even further, you say. With the U.S. facing trillion-dollar deficits and record debt, why should top earners and corporations pay even less in taxes than they do now?
This is
The tax
that was a
code
long
spurred
question.
the greatest economy that we've ever seen just prior to COVID. And even after COVID, it was so strong that we were able to get through COVID much better than just about any other country. But we spurred that
don't know about that.
tax spurred. Now, when we cut the taxes, as an example, the corporate tax was cut down to 21% from 39%, plus beyond that. We took in more revenue with much less tax, and companies were bringing back trillions of dollars back into our country. The country was going like never before, and we were ready to start paying down debt. We were ready to start using the liquid gold right under our feet, the oil and gas right under our feet. We were going to have something that nobody else has had. We got hit with COVID. We did a lot to fix it. I gave him an unbelievable situation with all of the therapeutics and all of the things that we came up with. We gave him
fuck, he's
something
right.
great. Remember, more
I
people
hate this
died
guy. I
under
hate
his
him. You know, that's what he's
administration,
thinking.
even though we had largely fixed it.
Slowly,
more
though.
people died under his administration
was
than
my
our
fault.
administration, and we were right in the middle of it, something which a lot of people don't like to talk about. But he had far more people dying in his administration. He did the mandate, which is a disaster.
It's fucked up how they
mandating
talk
it.
about this,
The
isn't it?
vaccine
Yeah.
went
Yeah,
out. He
more
did a
people dying,
mandate
not
on the
me.
Well,
vaccine, which
that's
is
what I'm saying. That's the major difference of like if you watch the Obama ones, because I have. There's none of these personal fucking. You're stupid.
Jabs.
I'm smart.
Yeah.
You're a loser. I'm the best. You done
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
I
It's
done.
like there's
none
bullies
of
in the
that.
playground
Yeah,
just
yeah.
having a
Crazy,
fucking
bro.
No, back
back
in the
and forth.
day, it was the debate
Back in
was
the day, 10 years ago.
back in the day, it was this is what I'm gonna do to fix this problem. This
Yeah.
is what I'm gonna do
What
to
are you
sort
gonna
this
do?
out. This is what like it wasn't like
No,
but
now-
he did this
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then he fucked it
and,
up.
oh,
so
and if I'm gonna tag, but remember when you did this, there was a slight. They would pick their words.
The tactic now is not to just is to try and make yourself look better by making your
Yeah.
opponent look worse.
Yes.
Literally.
Not by your politics and what you
But-
plan
not
to
by
do.
boosting yourself,
no,
by bringing him down.
Because
Yeah.
the world, you know,
it's entertainment.
it's, yeah.
It's on YouTube.
This is why.
We're
Did
here.
you see the
Did we hear,
presentation?
bro?
Like it was a
It
movie.
We've said this before.
It works.
A lot of groups of people even went approached The Rock to be president. You know,
Oh, yeah.
because the world is
They took it
about
seriously.
and it's a serious thing. Like
That would have been idiocracy.
Wow.
Even though he's bold.
it's gonna happen.
Same thing.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Oprah's gonna be our first fucking watch.
Well, better
that
Oprah
people
than
most objective
what's her
to about
face?
the
No.
vaccine, and he did
Hillary
a very
Clinton.
poor job, just a very poor job. And I will tell you, not only poor there, but throughout the entire world, we're no longer respected as a country. They don't respect our leadership. They don't respect the United States anymore.
Whatever he's saying now, that's a
It's
fact.
true, yeah, yeah.
Weaponization
No one
of
respects
his
America.
The
election,
US is
trying
a
to
joke.
go after his political opponent. All of the things he's done, we've become like a third world nation, and it's a shame. The damage he's done to our country, and I'd love to ask him, and will, why he allowed millions of people to come in here from prisons, jails, and mental institutions to come into our country and destroy our country.
Why?
Why did you let mental
We'll get to
people?
immigration later in this block. President Biden, I want to give you an opportunity to respond to this question about the national debt.
He had the largest national debt of any president in a 4-year period, number one. Number two, that $2 trillion tax cut benefited the very wealthy. What I'm going to do is fix the tax system. For example,
So if
we
it
have
helps him as
1,000
well. He's
trillionaires
whinging
in
about it now.
Yeah.
I mean, billionaires in America.
That's another
And
thing
what's
I told you
happened?
before. Million and billion is different for him because when he was a kid, million was billion.
In taxes.
So he keeps
If
confusing
they
that.
just paid 24%, 25%, either one of those numbers, they'd raise $500 million, billion dollars, I should say, in a 10-year period.
Keeps doing it.
We'd be able to wipe out his debt. We'd be able to help make sure that all those things we need to do, child care, elder care, making sure that we continue to strengthen our healthcare system, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary
Their healthcare
person,
system is a fucking joke anyway.
Yeah, it is.
eligible for what I've been able to do with.
Like if you
Give
don't have
free
insurance,
healthcare, you
you have
fuck.
to, yeah. What the fuck, man? You
Give
get all
free
that.
healthcare, man.
Take some of the money away from your wars, yeah, and give it to your people.
missing it. Look.
If the tax system, for example, we have 1,000 trillionaires in America.
1,000
billionaires
trillionaires.
in America. And what's happening? They're in a situation where they, in fact, pay 8.2% in taxes. If they just paid 24%, 25%, either one of those numbers, they'd raise $500 million, billion dollars, I should say, in a 10-year period. We'd be able to wipe out his debt.
Wait,
We'd be
so
able to help
he's-
make sure that all those things we need to do, child care, elder care, making sure that we continue to strengthen our healthcare system, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the with the COVID. Excuse me, with dealing with everything we have to do with. If
Oh my god, is he having a
we finally
stroke?
beat Medicare.
Thank you, President.
What happened there?
President
Did he have a
Trump.
little stroke?
Yeah, man.
You see what I mean, boys?
But he made the sound.
Right. I spoke to someone in the barbershop and he said to me, you know what, bro, I'm not even joking. And he'll laugh at anything, right? But he actually said to me, I can't watch this because
Feel sorry for the guy.
He feels so sorry because he's not nearly this guy's age, but he's getting older, I guess. And he's thinking like, this is cruel. Like, Trump is a loaded gun ready.
Yeah.
But even
It's
Trump
a lot-
was looking at him with a bit of like,
You're
"Fuck,
gonna see
man."
some comments from Trump's like, you're gonna see, but
But
I feel sorry. This is bullying the. First of all, Joe Biden is 100. Like literally,
Listen,
Cat Williams says it.
he puts
He's like,
himself-
you're bullying the elderly.
But he's putting himself there. These are the options that they've given
Bro,
themselves.
is it or are they forcing? Like anyway,
it's
I
a
don't
good
know.
puppet. But even the things he's saying, though, he said that if we just raise the taxes from 8.2 to 24, 25, one of
For the
those numbers
billionaires.
is. Yeah, but he's talking about raising taxes. Trump is talking about lowering taxes. So pick a side.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Pick a side.
look, this is the
I'm
problem
not saying
now.
one's
If we're
correct,
gonna
one's
go
wrong.
into what they're actually saying,
Yeah.
this is a 5-hour podcast.
No, well, that's
Trust
why I
me.
find it interesting. Like,
Well, he's
It
right.
doesn't-
He did
people
beat
would still
Medicare.
vote,
He beat it
you
to
know?
death. He's destroying Medicare because all of these people are coming in. They're putting them on Medicare. They're putting them on Social Security. They're going to destroy Social Security. This man is going to single-handedly destroy Social Security. These millions and millions of people coming in, they're trying to put them on Social Security. He will wipe out Social Security. He will wipe out Medicare. So he was right in the way he finished that sentence. And it's a shame. What's happened to our country in the last 4 years is not to be believed. Foreign countries, I'm friends with a lot of people. They cannot believe what happened to the United States of America. We're no longer respected. they don't like us. We give them everything they want, and they think we're stupid.
Are they going to get into
They
the
think we're
school
very
shootings
stupid
and shit
people.
as well?
What we're doing
Of
for
course.
other countries,
Okay, 'cause
and they
like,
do nothing for
Biden
us.
dropped the
What
ball
this
on
man
that
has done
heavily.
is absolutely
Jesus, we'll
criminal.
find out.
I think they're going to touch
Thank you,
subjects
President
about
Trump.
guns.
Tana?
This is the first presidential election since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. This morning, the court ruled on yet another abortion case, temporarily allowing emergency abortions to continue in Idaho, despite that state's restrictive ban. Former President Trump, you take credit for the decision to overturn Roe v. Wade, which returned the issue of abortion to the states.
Correct.
However, the federal government still plays a role in whether or not women have access.
You know what? This might be,
yeah.
I don't know if I should say this, but it's not the United States of America when every fucking state has a different law system and a different. How are you united, bro? Like, you've got different time zones, different fucking
big place,
rules,
bro.
different. Do you understand what I'm
It's
saying?
a big place.
It's a big place.
It's a
and-
big place.
I know, man. But
each state has their own sort of culture.
yeah, it's
So
crazy.
it's hard
Because
to
it
have
is-
them all
I
united
I
like
noticed
that.
from Rogan, it's like, bro, this is Texas, bruv. Like,
Yeah,
it's
like,
different here.
It
We're
is.
free.
Someone compared America to Africa in that sense that Africa is also huge,
Yeah.
and it also has
Lots
states.
of countries.
But the difference is they're kept their countries. It's not one country Africa because it could be.
a continent.
There is something that they're talking
But the
about.
Americans, it's America and these other states.
Yeah, but the states made sure this left a bit independent
not
because
be-
they don't trust the
No,
government.
they have federal law and they have state law.
yeah, they
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
trust the White House 100%.
Wow.
Yeah, so
They're
they
like-
have their own sort of rules.
Yeah, they're like, one day they might do something we don't want, so we're gonna go to war with them. So then we're gonna become the country
And
of
because,
Texas.
and because it's in
Bro,
the millions,
it's all mistrust.
It's all right.
This is why it's the whole gun issue. Like, they won't
Yeah.
give up their guns because they're like, no, because one day these fuckers are going to come and they're going to take us over and we're going to have
Yeah,
nothing
yeah.
to fight
Look,
back with,
we've got-
which is fair enough. But at the same time, it's like,
Yeah,
dude, you're like shooting each other like
Yeah.
crazy. Like, there needs to be some control on this.
That's the difference. We've got guns because of a foreign nation.
Yeah.
They've got guns because of internal mistrust.
Yes, imagine.
which is
Civil
more
wars.
fucked, you know.
Civil war
Yeah,
about
yeah,
to,
yeah.
like, it's gonna happen at some point in America if it continues.
Well,
like
it
this.
only happened 250 years ago, or 200,
even.
you know, like.
and
something
how
like
old
that.
is America?
350, like 300, you know.
You know?
So give it a chance.
They're due.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
full
It's been
circle.
100 years, bro.
Full
Yeah.
circle.
To abortion pills. They're used in
They have
about
access to abortion
2/3 of
pills.
all abortions.
This shouldn't even be
As
an issue.
president,
Yeah, like-
would you
Like, let women.
block
If you don't want the
abortion
kid, don't
medication?
have the kid.
First of all, the
Science.
Supreme
Yeah,
Court
just leave it.
approved the abortion pill, and I agree with their decision to have done that, and I will not block it. And if you look at this whole question that you're asking, a complex.
He's pro-abortion, yeah,
51
Trump.
years ago,
Of course he is.
you had Roe
Don't
v.
want none
Wade,
of them
and
pregnant
everybody
bitches showing up
wanted
with
to get
babies.
back to the States, everybody, without exception.
Their mistresses.
Democrats, Republicans, liberals, conservatives.
He's surprisingly cleaner than what we
everybody
think.
wanted back. Religious
Huh?
leaders.
He's surprisingly
And what I did
cleaner
is
than what you
put
think.
three great
Cleaner?
Supreme Court justices
No,
on
he
the
doesn't
court.
believe in
And
government
now he
control
voted
like
in
that.
favor
Yes.
of
That's it. He
killing
doesn't.
Roe v. Wade and moving it back to the states. This is something that everybody wanted. Now, 10 years ago or so, they started talking about how many weeks and how many this, getting into other things. But every legal scholar throughout the world,
That fuck, he
the
knows
most
a lot.
respected, wanted it brought back to the states. I did that. Now the states
Nico.
are working it out. If you look at Ohio, it was a
Afghanistan,
decision that was an end result that was a little bit more liberal than you would have thought. Kansas, I would say the same thing. Texas is different. Florida is different.
You see?
But they're all making their own decisions
Suave,
right
you
now.
know, it's weird.
And right now, the states control it. That's the vote of the people. Like Ronald Reagan, I
There you
believe
go.
in the exceptions. I am a person that believes. And frankly, I think it's important to believe in the exceptions. Some people, you have to follow your heart. Some people don't believe in that. But I believe in the exceptions for rape, incest, and the life of the mother. I think it's very important.
Yeah.
Some people don't. Follow your heart. But you have to get elected also. And
Let's not forget that.
Yeah,
people.
you want me to get
Fuck
elected?
your
Like,
opinion.
you know?
I'm here. Like,
You want these things?
Where, you
know,
run.
Go vote.
You run.
Yeah.
You know.
This
Like-
is my opinion, you know,
No,
but I gotta
because-
get elected,
no,
you know?
because
Like,
all these fucking nobodies behind the screen that have their beliefs think they have the same fucking right as him and the same, you know,
brain understanding.
Yeah,
No, he.
yeah, then you do it. Then do
I
better
think
than me.
he's very high IQ.
He is. Yes.
Yeah. whether he's
He plays dumb on
elected.
purpose
Yeah.
The
sometimes.
problem they have is they're
Maybe he's a
radical.
bit-
because
Sometimes
they will
he is a bit,
take
though.
the
He's kind
life
of on
a
the
child
spectrum.
in the
Bro,
8th
to
month,
be
the
where you
9th
are, you
month,
have to
and
be in
even
this fucking
after
world.
birth. After birth, if you look at
Where he's
the
at,
former
sorry.
governor of Virginia, he was willing to do this. He said, "We'll put the baby aside and we'll determine what we do with the baby," meaning we'll
Put
kill
it
the
aside.
baby.
It's like on
What
the shelf.
happened is we brought it back to the states,
Put
and
it in
the
a
country
drawer.
is now
Start later.
coming together on this issue. It's been a great thing.
Thank you. President Biden?
It's been a terrible thing. The fact is that the vast majority of constitutional scholars supported Roe when it was decided. Supported Roe. And that was
a bit
this idea
faster,
that
but
they're all
again,
against it is just
the
ridiculous.
cough ended.
He's getting warmed up.
And this is the guy who says the state should
And
be able
another
to
thing he
have
does,
it.
sorry.
We're a state.
Sorry, we'll put it
We're-
right. The other thing he does, he keeps putting number 1 and number 2 because
He's got to
because if
count
he
it.
does,
down.
he needs
He
bullet
needs a
points.
list in his
Yes,
head.
he needs bullet points.
He's
Otherwise,
reading
he
it down.
loses complete track.
Yeah.
And when he goes to 3,
He
you
lost
see,
it.
That's when right. So 1 and 2
Three
are
is too
pretty-
many. Yeah, 3 is too many now.
So I noticed when I watched it that 1 and 2 is pretty clear. Okay.
When he gets to the third, he
But,
tracks off a
end
bit.
of
Yeah.
2.
End of 2.
End of 2, we
You
lose it.
start seeing the signs.
You don't even know whether you're pregnant or not, but you cannot see a doctor and have him decide on what your circumstances are, whether you need help. The idea that states are able to do this is a little like saying we're going to turn civil rights back to the states, let each state have a different rule. Look, there's so many young women who have been, including a young woman who just was murdered, and he went to the funeral. The idea that she was murdered by an immigrant coming in. They talk about
Whoa,
that.
whoa,
But here's
whoa.
the deal: there's a lot of young women being raped by their in-laws, by their spouses, brothers and sisters, it's just ridiculous. And they can do nothing about it. And they try
He's
to
making
arrest them
no
across state
sense.
lines.
Thank you.
He's just.
Yeah,
They
like
had
even
to-
they even know, bro.
Murdered
They're doing
by
him
the same
favors,
people he
bro.
allows to come across our border.
Bro, they allow like
They help
Bro,
him.
but
They
no,
help
no.
him. The
He
news-
started making like each sentence didn't finish or
no,
correlate with the
no,
previous one.
no.
He just started a new sentence midway of his point.
right, and that has become classic Biden.
Yeah, and now she helped him. Is that enough? Okay,
But it
move.
works.
That's what you
because
expect.
they just hear him
The
talk and say some words.
Buzzwords, rape,
yeah.
brother, sister,
Yeah.
in-laws.
But
you know?
the structure of
And then
what
he
he's
says, "Oh, it's
saying,
ridiculous."
Yeah, it makes no sense.
it was the worst one.
what was the point he just tried to make?
He didn't.
He made
No,
no
I
sense.
think the
He just
point,
said a bunch of words.
Yes.
The point he tried to make a point, but then he was remembering the words that he said, so
He was trying to
address
answering-
it.
He
Bro.
can't. He can't.
So this is the problem, right? He has a Ferrari engine in a fucking Lada Samara body. Do you understand what I'm saying? So because I'm not saying that he's the smartest guy and he deserves that title of a Ferrari engine, but I mean that the engine's good. Okay, it was good. That's why he got to where he is, whatever. But he just can't carry it anymore. It's like there's no
Support. Yeah,
there's no
from the
support.
bottom.
Not
So
enough oxygen.
He thinks about something and then he can't catch up.
There's
Bro.
not
He
enough
can't
oxygen.
catch up with himself.
He's got
We have a
dementia.
border that's the most dangerous place
Like
anywhere
early
in the world.
signs.
Considered the
No,
most
they
dangerous
probably
place
kinda fixed
anywhere in
him,
the world.
but didn't.
And he opened it up, and these killers are coming into our country.
He opened up the
and they
borders.
are raping and killing women. And it's a terrible thing. As far as the abortion is concerned, it is now back with the states. The states are voting. In many cases, it's frankly a very liberal decision. In many cases, it's the opposite. But they're voting, and it's bringing it back to the vote of the people, which is what everybody
in a
wanted,
way-
including the
In a way, it's better for them to have each state having their own kind of
Yeah.
law when it comes to this. Because what
Like
if
you
you're in
said,
one of a
cultures.
state that you want to get an abortion but you can't? It's illegal.
They just
Go
moved
to
to
another
a
one.
state.
Exactly. You just have the option to just, all right, I'm going over there. I'm going to get it
Yeah.
done. Come back.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah,
You
but
know?
that's a little bit stupid because I'll tell you why. Not a little bit stupid. It's very okay, I guess, but they do that with murder too.
Yeah, but that's not the same
crime
law.
rates. Yeah, crime rates.
If I go over there,
Or
I'll
if
get
I-
8 years. Here, I'll get 12.
Petty crime
that
and
happens.
shit as
That's
well.
annoying, bro.
But it's
No,
it's
it
where
depends.
you committed the crime. That's where you're gonna get.
And it depends what kind of
charged,
crime.
right?
It depends what kind of crime. Each state has a bit looser laws.
No,
on
look.
certain
I think
things.
what Trump is saying here is these motherfuckers tried to take something like abortion, which we shouldn't even be fucking discussing here,
Yeah.
and try to put the control in the White House's hands.
Whatever side it is.
You know, whatever side it is,
Yeah.
whatever they want, whatever
shouldn't be
agenda.
doing that.
And just that fact, he's like,
No, you're taking away from the freedom
That
of
is
people.
literally
here.
like
so now I
making-
have to put it in the fucking bill that each state has their own little voting system for it because they're trying to control it. So I'll control it this way.
That's almost
You know,
as
like,
serious as making you believe a certain religion.
forcing
yeah.
you.
Forcing. It's basically almost because it's a child at the end
Well,
of the
yeah,
day. It's just as
it's
important.
deciding for you. It
Yeah.
it takes away your
Yeah, but
choice.
there's matters that aren't so important. But that one, the kid one, is pretty important.
Yeah,
It's a
man.
matter
You're
want-
going to tell a woman that's been raped
You can't say
that
That's-
she
that's
can't
the
have an
argument
abortion.
Trump
yeah,
won
but
on,
it's
which is a valid
it's-
argument.
Yes, it's a very valid.
Yeah.
You know, or someone that
Which
it
counteracts
will kill
with-
you if you don't get an abortion. It will kill
which
you.
kind of counteracts with the fact that if you can pick who you're going to be in your life, whatever that means, yeah, that's the world we live in, right?
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, if I want to choose to be a mother or not, I'm not allowed. Like I can be a dude, but I can't. You know. Anyway.
I can't.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's
if they
going to be
knew
long.
about
yeah.
this
We
issue,
have-
which frankly they didn't. But they would have. Everybody wanted brought back. Ronald Reagan wanted it brought back. He wasn't able to get it. Everybody wanted it brought back, and many presidents had tried to get it back. I was the one to do it. And again, this gives it the vote of the people, and that's where they wanted it. Every legal scholar wanted it that way.
Staying on the topic of abortion, President Biden, 7 states.
Move on from this
I'll
topic.
let you do
right.
that. This is the same topic. 7 states have no legal restrictions on how far into a pregnancy a woman can obtain an abortion. Do you support any legal limits on how late a woman should be able to terminate a pregnancy?
You're asking a
Because
90-year-old
apparently
man.
after 3 months old, after 3 months pregnant,
It develops and it's a life.
It's not a
It's not an
infant.
embryo.
Embryo, yeah. It's now a baby.
Yeah.
So kind of, it has a brain. It's developing a brain. I mean, and and this is where it gets. This is where it gets really it's really personal on your actual beliefs on what a 3-month pregnant woman can do after 3 months.
Yeah, this is
Listen,
where you can
the-
get
The
deep
longer
in the
you wait,
conversation.
we can all agree. The longer you wait, the worse it is. I think.
There should be
Right?
There should be a restriction on how many months you can do it because it becomes a danger after that as well.
Yeah.
It's got to be within safe
Yeah,
limits.
but
for you
again,
to
can
do
you
it.
see? That's your
Where's
belief.
the line?
Huh?
Where's
That's
the line?
your belief.
Yeah.
That's your logic.
Because
right. So I agree with that, but someone will be like, you can't tell me. I prefer to risk my own death. I'm not having that baby, even though I might die. I prefer to die. Like, fuck
Yeah,
it.
each to their own. Have the option though.
Yeah, that's what.
But have the option also means 8 months you make the choice.
Yeah.
No, that's
You're,
the part. I
you're
don't
okay
agree
with that?
No, that's what I'm saying. Up
okay,
to a point.
but here's the
no,
argument against that. A cat that doesn't like its one baby is gonna
Eat it.
destroy it.
Well, we're
it
comparing
can't
ourselves to
live.
cats now.
So no, to just animal, right? So
Well, no, the whole point
8
is we
months you
separate.
figure out. 8 months you figure out the body's gonna, the baby's not gonna be able to walk ever. It's not gonna have a proper brain function. Something. You have a choice in front of you, right? Right. It's gonna die in 6 months after
Yes.
it's born because it's
This is
something
what
wrong.
I'm saying.
I
There
have
needs to
very
be.
mixed feelings about that.
So there's always arguments to push the line. That's what I'm trying to prove here. I'm not picking a side.
Yeah.
But the moment you start saying we should put a limitation on something, that's when the line starts to move every few years, depending on the opinions of the people.
Yeah.
The zeitgeist.
Yeah. So it's just he said, let the people vote. That's the system we have. That's the best we can do.
Well, what's
That's
that
it.
called?
Democracy.
Who
Greeks.
Which
Let's
has
go.
been here
Roe v.
forever.
Wade, which had 3 trimesters. The first time is between the woman and the doctor. Second time is between the doctor and an extreme situation. The third time is between
The decisions.
doctor, between the woman and the state. The idea that the politicians, that the founders wanted the politicians to be the ones making decisions about women's health is ridiculous. That's the last. No politician should be making that decision. A doctor should be making those decisions.
Yeah,
That's how
the
it should
same
be run.
doctors that are making
That's what you're
everyone
gonna do. And
transsexual, yeah, gender dysmorphia, all of them.
Told you
Them
to
ones.
get the jabs.
Yeah.
You can take the life
Same
of the
doctors.
baby in the 9th month and even after birth, because some states, Democrat run, take it after birth.
Wow.
Again, the former governor of Virginia.
After birth, that's
Put
fucked.
the baby down, then we decide what to do
Put
with
the
it.
baby
so
down.
He's
That's what they're
dog.
doing,
He's
though.
saying,
Yes.
rip the baby out of the womb in the 9th month and kill the baby. Nobody wants that to happen.
Jeez.
Democrat or Republican, nobody wants that.
It's like, bro, no one
What
wants
the
that.
fuck, man?
He speaks people, bro.
Yeah. He
speaks-
just translated what he said.
Yes.
Yeah.
He said that
No
in
one wants
political
that
terms.
to happen.
The third trimester.
It's like,
Bro,
he
extreme
wants to take the
situation.
people out of the baby out of the womb and put it down. Like,
After and then see what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
Put it on a shelf. Decide
We'll see
later.
what happened. Like, was
Sell
that
it-
wrong?
sell it on the market.
Was that wrong or right? We'll see later.
sell it on the market.
Oh man, yeah,
That is simply not true.
yeah.
That Roe v. Wade does not provide for that. That's not the circumstance. Only if a woman's life is in danger, she's going to die. That's the only circumstance in which that can happen.
After it's born.
But we are not for late-term abortion.
Oh, you
period.
killed her.
Period.
Under Roe v. Wade, you have late-term abortion. You can do whatever you want, depending on the state. You can do whatever you want. We don't think that's a good thing. We think it's a radical thing. We think the Democrats are the radicals, not the Republicans.
For 51 years, that was the law. 51 years, constitutional scholarship said it was the right way to go. 51 years, and it was taken away because this guy put very conservative members on the Supreme Court.
You know when they keep mentioning about laws and traditions and we've been doing this for
We've
so
been- yeah,
long.
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
That's a shit argument for
Yeah,
me.
it is. It is.
In certain cases, yes. it
People
is.
were sacrificing each other for hundreds of years. Should
Yeah,
we
I
keep
was,
that
even,
going?
I was even thinking that right now when I said about democracy, right? Maybe that's wrong too. Maybe, like, do you know what I mean? We've been doing it for so many fucking years.
We're not
Maybe it's
doing
wrong.
it
But do you know
how
what
it
I
was
mean?
supposed to
It's
be
been
done, yeah.
done. It didn't it worked
Listen,
and then it didn't.
listen. It's not we call it democracy, but it's not.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
it's
but I mean, like-
they morphed it into whatever they want.
It's very difficult to pinpoint what's exactly right, though.
But yeah,
Credit for taking it away. What's he going to do? What's he going to do? In fact, if the MAGA Republicans, he gets elected, and the MAGA Republicans control the Congress, and they pass a universal ban on abortion, period, across the board, at 6 weeks or 7 or 8 or 10 weeks, something very, very conservative. Is he going to sign that bill? I'll veto it. He'll sign it.
Thank you.
Let's turn now to the issue of immigration and border
tried to
security.
talk to
yeah, they
Gone
blocked him
mental.
off there.
Gone
A number
mental.
of migrants have illegally crossed the southern border on your watch, overwhelming border states and overburdening cities such as New York and Chicago, and in some cases causing real safety and security concerns. Given that, why should voters trust you to solve this crisis?
Because we worked very hard to get a bipartisan agreement that not only changed all
So they
of
went
that,
straight to Biden
made
again.
sure
They
that
didn't
we are
even-
in a
Then
situation
they didn't let
where
him respond.
Well, he's
you
the
had
president at
no
the moment.
circumstance where they could come
So he's
across the
carrying
border
more-
with the
more
number
questions.
of border police there are
terrible
now.
for him.
We significantly increased the number of asylum officers. Significantly, by the way, the Border Patrol endorsed me, endorsed my position. In addition to that, we found ourselves in a situation where, when he was president, he was separating babies from their mothers, putting them in cages, making sure the families were separated. That's not the right way to go. What I've done since I've changed the law, what's happened?
been killing the
I've
babies.
changed it in a way that now you're in a situation where there are 40% fewer people coming across the border illegally. It's better than when he left office. And I'm going to continue to move
Legally.
until we get the total
Yeah,
ban.
illegally they're just running riot.
The total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more border patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either. Look, we had the safest border in the history of our country. All he had to do was leave it. All he had to do was leave it.
It's better than
He's
we
very
left
honest, though.
office.
I don't know what to say. I don't even think he knows what
He
it
knows
is.
what he
He's very honest.
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either. Look, we had the safest border in the history of our country. All he had to do was leave it. All he had to do was leave it. He decided.
Like, I built it. I built the wall.
It was ready.
I told
I've
you I
done
was
it.
going to build the wall. I built the wall.
I done it.
I put everything in place. And I told you to leave it.
Just leave it there. It's good. It's functioning. You see this part?
Just don't touch it.
There's nothing-
It's fine. Just leave it alone.
Yeah, it's working.
All
It's
you-
fine.
That's how dumb you are. All you had to do was leave it, but somehow
No.
you completely fucked it. And that's what he's going to tell us now, how he fucked it.
Open up our border, open up our country to people that are from prisons, people that are from mental institutions, insane asylum, terrorists. We have the largest number of terrorists coming into our country
America
right now.
bought,
All terrorists,
Gotham?
all over the world, not just in South
America
America,
is
all
Gotham.
over the world.
All
They
over
come
the world, bro.
from the Middle East, everywhere, all over the world. They're pouring in, and this guy just left it open. And he didn't need legislation because I didn't have legislation. I said, close the border. We had the safest border in history. In that final couple of months of my presidency, we had, according to Border Patrol, who is great, and by the way, who endorsed me for president, but I won't say that, but they endorsed me for president.
You
Brandon,
idiot.
just
You know?
speak to him. But look, we had the safest border in history. Now we have the worst border in history. There's never been anything like it. And people are dying all over the place, including the people that are coming up in
Thank you,
caravans.
President Trump. President Biden?
The only terrorist who's done anything crossing the border is one who came along and killed 3 under his administration.
Sure.
Killed an Al-Qaeda person come in his administration. Killed 3 American soldiers.
Okay.
Killed 3 American soldiers. That's the only terrorist that's there. I'm not saying that no terrorist ever got through, but the idea they're emptying their prisons, we're welcoming these people, that's simply not true. There's no data to support what he said. Once again, he's exaggerating. He's lying.
President
Okay.
Trump,
That was a
staying
good,
on the topic of immigration, you
he
said that you
deflected
would carry
that.
out, quote,
Good.
the largest domestic deportation operation in American history, unquote.
ready.
Does that mean that you will deport every undocumented immigrant in America, including those who have jobs, including those whose spouses are citizens, and including those who have lived here for decades? And if so, how will you do it?
Just 1 second. He said we killed 3 people. The people we killed are al-Baghdadi and Soleimani, the 2 greatest.
He died like a dog.
He cried. I said back, don't cry. That's what he said. But don't cry. You're dead. You know, he died like a dog.
He died like a dog.
That's, you know, people, yeah, anyway.
Biggest terrorist anywhere in the world, and it had a huge impact on everything, not just border, on everything. He's the one that killed people with the bad water, including hundreds of thousands of people dying, and also killing our citizens when they come in. We are living right now in a rat's nest. They're killing our people in New York, in California, in every state in the union, because we don't have borders anymore. Every state is now a border. And because of his ridiculous, insane, and very stupid policies, people are coming in and they're killing our citizens at a level that we've never seen. We call it migrant crime. I call it Biden migrant crime. They're killing our citizens at a level that we've never seen before. And you're reading it like these 3 incredible young girls over the last few days. One of them, I just spoke to the mother, and he just had the funeral for this girl, 12 years old. This is horrible what's taken place. What's taken place in our country, we're literally an uncivilized country now. He doesn't want it to
He's
be.
not
He
wrong.
just doesn't know. He opened the borders. Nobody's ever seen anything like. And we
And
have
he
to get a
said
lot of
he
these.
doesn't want it to be like that. He's just dumb. He doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's bad. He's just not
stupid
Yeah,
policy.
he's just
He's making mistakes.
Yeah.
Left, right, and
And
center.
I'm, you know,
I wouldn't be
that's how you know he's not-
surprised. I wouldn't be surprised in the next elections they just throw him in a boxing ring and just winner
bro. That could.
winner stays on.
Oh, bro, he challenged.
I mean, it might as well the way it's
he
going.
challenged
innit?
May McMahon. What's his
Who?
WWE?
yeah.
McMahon?
McMahon, Von McMahon, something like that. Yeah, I know.
You're
the
thinking of
owner
Vince
of the
Vaughn.
WWE.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm
Vince
bigger than you.
McMahon.
I'm stronger
Yeah,
than
yeah,
you.
Vince McMahon.
Vince McMahon.
I think it's Vince.
Vince Von McMahon.
Wow.
McMahon.
Your name is some
We are
different
from
dudes.
Vince
the
Vaughn.
not this
No,
part
no.
of the country.
Yeah.
Vince
Vince.
McMahon.
Yeah.
Vince McMahon.
Von.
Vince Von Van.
Vince Von. That's more German coming out.
People out, and we have to get them out fast because they're going to destroy our country. Just take a look at where they're living. They're living in luxury hotels in New York City and other places. Our veterans are on the street. They're dying because he doesn't care about our veterans. He doesn't care. He doesn't like the military.
Seems like
at
that's
all.
the case all over
And
the
he
world
doesn't
right
care
now.
about
innit?
our veterans. Nobody been worse.
Listen, man.
I had the highest approval rating for veterans taking care of the VA. He has the worst. He's gotten rid of all the things that I approved. Choice that I got through Congress, all of the different things I approved, they abandoned. We had by far the highest, and now it's down in less than half because he's done all these great things that we did. And I think he did it just because I approved it, which is crazy. But he has killed so many people at our border by
Thank you,
allowing
President Trump.
all of these people to come in.
President
and it's
Biden.
a very sad day in America.
President Biden, you have the mic.
Every single thing he said is a lie. Every single one. For example, veterans are a hell of a lot
Bro,
better
this is a
off
joke.
Past the PACT Act. 1 million of them now have insurance and their families have it.
You know what I don't understand? Why don't they have fucking fact checkers on there and saying, no, that's not actually
Yeah,
true?
They
But-
do,
they
but
should
not
do.
now.
I mean, that's how it's supposed to be.
But there is
Don't
fact-
just, they're just
But that's what I'm
saying
saying.
spew
At
out
the
words.
end, they'll tell you how many times each lied, as if it's a regular thing.
Bro, this is
They
like a
will.
rap battle
Yes, they tell you like,
here. This is like a cipher here.
bro.
We're gonna get
Do
the-
you know that real leaders, and I don't want to say
It's
names,
ridiculous.
but real leaders from colder countries are sitting there laughing their asses off at these fucking
Clowns, man. Clowns.
Yeah, like it's a commercial fucking.
This is idiocracy. It's like a
Oh
trailer.
my god!
Honestly, it is. It's
Let's remind people to like, subscribe, and keep watching the video.
Yes,
And we've got a
yes.
bit more to go. So let's
Have it
keep
because
going.
what happened, whether it was Agent Orange or burn pits, they're all being covered now. And his group opposed that. We're also in a situation where we have great respect for veterans. My son spent a year in Iraq.
Oh, this is where he fucked
Living
up.
right next to
You'll
one of
see
those
now,
burn
boys.
pits, came back with stage 4 glioblastoma. I was recently in France for D-Day, and I spoke all about those heroes that died. I went to the World War II cemetery, World War I cemetery. He refused to go.
so
there.
that means he cares
He
about the
stayed with his
veterans.
four-star general.
Yeah, man.
And he told me, he said, I don't want to go in there because they're a bunch of losers and suckers. My son was not a loser, was not a sucker. You're the sucker. You're the loser.
President Trump?
Whoa.
First of all, that was a made-up quote, suckers and losers. They made it up. It was in a third-rate magazine that's failing, like many of these magazines. He made that up. He put it in commercials. We've notified him. We had 19 people that said I didn't say it. And think of this. Who would say I'm at a cemetery or I'm talking about our veterans? Because nobody's taken better care. I'm so glad this came up, and he brought it up. There's nobody that's taken better care of our soldiers than I have. To think that I would, in front of generals and others, say suckers and losers. We have 19 people that said it was never said by me. It was made up by him, just like Russia was made up, just like the 51 intelligence agents are made up, just like the new thing with the 16 economists are talking.
Look how he looks
the
at
same
him.
thing. 51 intelligence agents said that the laptop was Russia disinformation. It wasn't. That came from his son, Hunter. It wasn't Russia disinformation. He made up the suckers and losers.
These
So
are
he should
facts, by the way.
apologize to me
It's
right
been
now.
proven.
Four-star general standing to your side who was on your staff who said you said it, period. That's number one. And number two,
Number one,
the
yeah.
idea that I have to apologize to you for anything along the line. We've done more for veterans than any president has in American history. American history.
No, I've done
And
more.
they
No,
now
I've
are
done
their
more.
family. The only sacred obligation we have as a country is to care for our veterans
Unbelievable,
when they come home and their families and equip them when they go to war. That's what we're
They haven't
doing.
once spoken
That's what
about
the VA is
policy,
doing
what
now.
they're going to do,
No.
how they're going
Hot
to fix
topics.
things.
Hot
This is for our
topics.
history.
What's
What about
clickable?
what I've
Yeah.
done, what you've done?
Topic of
Yeah.
foreign policy. I want to begin with
Like, how
Russia's
do you
war
vote for these people?
against Ukraine, which is
And that's
now
why it's not fair.
No, like you're just.
No, that's why it's not fair for Biden. Because let's say he has a better political opinion of you. That's not what they're doing here.
No.
They're going to
Hot topics.
me against you, right?
Yeah.
Not what I believe in or you. It's me against you. And
Yeah.
Trump is way too sharp. Way too on his.
But
on the
they
game.
did try to control him, so that's on him.
And
He's
still-
too good. He's too
and
good.
still they
Yeah,
can't.
of course.
its third year. Former President Trump, Russian President Vladimir Putin says he'll only end this war if Russia keeps the Ukrainian territory it has already claimed and Ukraine abandons its bid to join NATO. Are Putin's terms acceptable to you?
First of all, our veterans and our soldiers can't stand this guy. They can't stand him. They think he's the worst commander-in-chief, if that's what you call him, that we've ever had. They can't stand him. So let's get that straight. And they like me more than just about any of them.
They like me more.
And that's based on
I'm
every
better.
single bit of information. As far as Russia and Ukraine, if we had a real president, a president that knew, that was respected by Putin, he would have never
at his
invaded
face.
Ukraine. A lot of people are dead right now, much more than people know. You know, they talk about numbers. You can double those numbers, maybe triple those numbers. He did nothing to stop it. In fact, I think he encouraged Russia from going in. I'll tell you what happened. He was so bad with Afghanistan. It was such a horrible embarrassment, most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. that when Putin watched that and he saw the incompetence, that he should have fired those generals like I fired the one that you mentioned. And so
It should be called the roast of Joe Biden. That's what
Well,
it should
yeah. By Donald Trump.
had no love lost, but he should have fired those generals. No general got fired for the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, Afghanistan, where we left billions of dollars of equipment behind. We lost 13 beautiful soldiers, and 38 soldiers were obliterated. And by the way, we left people behind, too. We left American citizens behind. When Putin saw that, he said,
How the fuck did they leave, bro?
This is random.
Go! Just grab your shit and go.
Go a bit back, go a bit back.
Jesus Christ, man.
Ukraine. You know what? I think we're going to go in and maybe take my. This was his dream. I talked to him about it. His dream. The difference is he never
About Putin.
lost, but he should have fired those generals. No general got fired for the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, Afghanistan, where we left billions of dollars of equipment behind. We lost 13 beautiful soldiers, and 38 soldiers were obliterated. And by the way, we left people behind, too. We left American citizens behind.
Yeah.
When Putin saw that, he said, you know what? I think we're going to go in and maybe take my. This was his dream. I talked to him about it, his dream. The difference is he never would have invaded Ukraine. Never. Just like Israel would have never been invaded in a million years by Hamas.
Just gonna stand in the middle,
You know
Trump.
why?
Hey,
Because
guys.
Iran was broke.
Let's
with
all
me.
make some money.
I wouldn't let anybody do business with them. They ran out of money. They
You
were
know
broke.
what,
They had
bro?
no
That's
money
what
for
you want to hear. I would never let them,
Bro,
business
I
with
would,
me.
I
If
would
Biden says that,
find
you don't
them
believe him.
ways to make them money so they would shut the fuck up.
Exactly. Biden, if he says it, you won't believe him.
Nah.
He's never said it.
They had no money for anything, no money for terror. That's why you had no terror at all during my administration. This place, the whole world is blowing up under him.
President Biden?
The whole world.
This one, it's fucked.
Look, the fact of the matter is that we're in a situation where, let's take the last point first. Iran attacked American troops, caused brain damage
Iran.
for a number of these troops, and he did nothing about it. Recently, not when he was president. They attacked. He said they're just having headaches. That's all it is. He didn't do a thing when the attack took place.
What has this got to do with
Number one.
anything he's just
Number
spoken
two,
about?
Number
We
two.
got over 100,000 Americans and others out of Afghanistan during that era.
100,000.
Number three, we found ourselves in a situation where, if you take a look at what Trump did in Ukraine, this guy told Trump, do whatever you want, and do whatever you want. And that's exactly what Trump did
What?
to Putin, encourage him, do whatever you want. And he went in. And listen to what he said when he went in. He was going to take Kyiv in 5 days, remember? Because it's part of the old Soviet Union. That's what he wanted to reestablish, Kyiv. And he, in fact, didn't do it at all. He wasn't able to get it done.
What's he
And they've
talking
lost
about,
About
over
Putin
Yeah, why?
saying that to
thousands
Trump.
and thousands of troops, 500,000 troops.
But he didn't make a
President
point.
Trump,
No, he
for
didn't
1
make a
minute,
point.
I just want to go back to my
0
original
point.
question, which is, are Putin's terms acceptable to you? Keeping the
No, they're
territory
not
in Ukraine?
acceptable. No,
Why
they're
should
not
you keep pushing
acceptable.
on this?
On
But
Trump.
look,
Yeah.
Now,
this
the
is
number
a war that never should have started. If we had a leader in this war, he led everybody along. He's given $200 billion now or more to Ukraine. He's given $200 billion. That's a lot of money. I don't think there's ever been anything like it. Every time that Zelensky comes to this country, he walks away with $60 billion. He's the greatest salesman ever. And I'm not knocking him. I'm not knocking it.
About the Ukrainian guy.
Greatest.
It's
Every
great.
time. 60 billion.
$200 billion. That's a lot of money.
I'm Trump, right? But that's a lot. That's a lot of money, bro. Like, it's like, guys, like, look at what he's doing.
We can do a lot with our money, man.
Every guy, the guy comes in the country, gets $60 billion. Like,
he's the best salesman.
He's the best salesman.
I'm only saying the money that we're spending on this war.
He
and
looks
we
hurt.
shouldn't be spending. It should have never happened. I will have that war settled between Putin and Zelensky as president-elect before I take office on January 20th. I'll have that war settled.
Wow.
Yeah, I believe
People
him, bro.
being
Yeah,
killed
that's what I'm
so
saying. You
needlessly,
believe
so
him.
stupidly, and I will get it settled, and I'll get it settled fast before I take office.
Wow.
President
know-
Biden, you have a minute.
The fact is that Putin is a war criminal. He's killed
Oh, no.
thousands
Be
and thousands
careful,
of people.
mate.
He's
And
gonna
he
get,
has made one
he's at the
thing
end of his
clear.
days
But it's
anyway.
okay, I
He
allow them to
established
speak
what
a
was
little bit
part
about
of the
me,
Soviet
but
Empire, not just a piece. He wants all of Ukraine. That's what he wants. And then you think he'll stop there? Do you think he'll stop when if he takes Ukraine? What do you think happens to Poland? What do you think of Belarus? What do you think happens to those NATO countries? And so if you want a war, you ought to find out what he's going to do, because if in fact he does what he says and walks away, by the way,
Gonna get a new
all
Hitler,
that
yeah?
money we give Ukraine are from weapons we make here in the United States. We give them the weapons, not the money at this point. And our NATO allies have produced as much funding for Ukraine as we have. That's why we're strong.
Thank you. Moving on to the Middle East. In October, Hamas attacked Israel, killing more than 1,000 people and taking hundreds of hostages. Among those held and thought to still be alive are
What's that
5
got to do with
Americans.
America?
Because
Israel's
there's 5
response
Americans
has killed
that
thousands
are
of Palestinians
held.
and created a humanitarian crisis in Gaza. President Biden, you've put forward a proposal to resolve this conflict, but so far Hamas has not released the remaining hostages, and Israel is continuing its military offensive in Gaza. So what additional leverage will you use to get Hamas and Israel to end the war? You have 2 minutes.
Number one.
2 minutes. Stepping it up.
Number one.
From the United Nations Security Council, straight through to the G7, to the Israelis, and Netanyahu himself have endorsed the plan I put forward. Which has 3 stages to it. The first stage is trade the hostages for a ceasefire. Second phase is a ceasefire with additional conditions. The third phase is the end of the war. The only one who wants the war to continue is Hamas.
He's explained
That's the
step
game
by
plan.
step. Okay, so what we're gonna do, right?
That is the president's.
We're gonna go there and we're gonna tell him, listen,
Give us the hostages.
give us the guys and we'll stop shooting you.
Yeah.
That is
All right,
so
step
impressive.
one.
Step
I'm
one.
so
And
impressed.
then, all right, once we got them back, then we're gonna be like, listen, we're gonna stop shooting you,
Bro.
but there's some conditions to it.
So
You
impressive.
have to
Let's
do some
have
stuff.
lunch.
Yeah,
Let's have lunch.
Okay,
Bro, that's
Let's
some-
have lunch.
and then after that, we're just gonna say, you know what?
No more.
Let's call it quits.
That's
That's it.
Done.
that's
Done.
imp-
Simple.
Continue.
Why
Life.
don't they keep? Why don't they do
Why,
that?
why didn't all
Impressive.
civilization
Bro,
for
like,
the last
he's
4,000
figured it out.
years
The
do
people
that?
have a lot to learn from this guy.
He's figured it out.
Wow, man.
Well
bravo,
done, Biden.
bravo. He's gonna go down in history as you
I
know.
want to see if Trump's going to call him out on it.
Of course.
We're the only ones standing out. We're still pushing hard to get them to accept. In the meantime, what's happened? In Israel, we're finding that the only thing I've denied Israel was 2,000-pound bombs. They don't work very well in populated areas. They kill a lot of innocent people.
Oh, do they?
We're providing Israel with all the weapons they need and when they need them. And by the way, I'm the guy that organized the world against Iran when they had a full-blown intercontinental ballistic missile attack on Israel. No one was hurt. No one Israeli was accidentally killed, and it just stopped. We saved Israel. We are the biggest producer of support for Israel of anyone in the world. And so there are 2 different things. Hamas cannot be allowed to be continued. We continue to
can't
send our
catch up
experts
with this.
and our intelligence people to how they can get Hamas like we did bin Laden. You don't have to do it. And by the way,
throwing
they've
names
been greatly weakened, Hamas. Greatly weakened, and they should be. They should be eliminated. But you've got to
Bro,
be careful
it's
for
just-
using certain weapons.
He just
around
doesn't stop
populations.
talking, but
Yeah.
none of it makes sense.
Well, that's his game plan. I'm gonna keep saying words.
Stand back
Hopefully, it'll
here
make
for 1
sense.
second.
Keywords.
We have an ocean separating us. The European nations together have spent 100 billion, or maybe more than that, less than us. Why doesn't he call them and say, you got to put up your money like I did with NATO? I got them to put up hundreds of billions of dollars. The Secretary General of NATO said Trump did the most incredible job I've
remember
ever
that.
seen.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have any.
Europe
They
has
were
to
going
pay
out of
too.
business. We were spending almost 100% of the money was paid by us. He didn't do that. He's getting all. You got to ask these people to put up the money. We're over $100 billion more spent, and it has a bigger impact on them because of location, because we have an ocean in between. You got to ask them. As far as Israel and Hamas, Israel's the one that wants to go. He said the only one that wants to keep going is Hamas. Actually, Israel is the one, and you should let him go and let him finish the job. He doesn't want to do it. He's become like a Palestinian, but they don't like him because he's a very bad Palestinian. He's a weak one.
President Biden, you have a minute.
I've never heard so much foolishness. This is a guy who wants to get out of NATO. You're going to stay in NATO? He's going to pull out of NATO. The idea that we have our
He's gonna pull out of
strengths and
NATO.
our alliances as well. It may be a big ocean, but we're ever able to avoid a war in Europe, a major war in Europe?
I bet he's got a
What
bag of
happens if,
pills,
in
bro.
fact, you have Putin
He must have a
continue to
bag
go
of pills,
into
this guy.
NATO. We have an article.
I think he's got one of those
attack on one is
machines
attack on
that just
all.
keeps
We want to
injecting
start the
the
nuclear war he
drugs.
keeps talking about.
A
Go ahead.
cocktail every
Keep
few
him alive.
hours. Yeah, just keep
Control
him alive.
Ukraine,
Somewhere on his body.
and then move on to Poland and other places. See what happens then. He has
See
no
what
idea
happens
what the
then.
hell he's talking about. And by the way, I got 50 other nations around the world to support Ukraine, including Japan and South Korea, because they understand that this kind of dislocation has a serious threat to the whole world peace. No major war in Europe has ever been able to be contained just to Europe.
President Trump, just to follow up, would you support the creation of an independent Palestinian state in order to achieve peace in the region?
I'd have to see, but before we do that, the problem we have is that we spend all the money. So they kill us on trade. I made great trade deals with the European nations because if you add them up, they're about the same size economically. Their economy is about the same size as the United States. And they were no cars, they don't want anything that we have, but we're supposed to take their cars, their food, their everything, their agriculture. I changed that. But the big thing I changed is they don't want to pay. And the only reason that he can play games with NATO is because I got them to put up hundreds of billions of dollars. I said, and he's right about this, I said, no, I'm not going to support NATO if you don't pay. They asked me that question, would you guard us against Russia at a very secret meeting of the 28 states at that time, nations at that time. And they said, no, if you don't pay, I won't do that. And you know what happened? Billions and billions of dollars came flowing in the next day and the next months. But now we're in the same position.
Business,
We're paying
bro.
everything
The
else.
world's a big
Let's
fucking
turn to the issue
shopping
of
mall.
democracy. Former
That's
President
what it
Trump,
is.
I want to ask you about January 6th,
America's the biggest
2021.
shopping mall
After
in
you
the world.
rallied your supporters that day, some of them stormed the Capitol to stop the constitutionally mandated counting of electoral votes. As president, you swore an oath to, quote, preserve, protect, and defend, unquote, the Constitution. What do you say to voters who believe that you violated that oath through your actions and inaction on January 6th and worry that you'll do it again?
Well, I don't think too many believe that. And let me tell you about January 6th. On January 6th, we had a great border. Nobody coming through, very few. On January 6th, we were energy independent. On January 6th, we had the lowest taxes ever. We had the lowest regulations ever. On January 6th, we were respected all over the world. All over the world, we were respected. And then he comes in, and we're now laughed at. We're like a bunch of stupid people. What happened to the United States' reputation under this man's leadership is horrible, including weaponization, which I'm sure at some point you'll be talking about, where he goes after his political opponent because he can't beat him fair and square.
You have 80 seconds left. My question was, what do you say to those voters who believe that you violated your constitutional oath through your actions and inaction on January 6, 2021, and worry that you'll do it again?
Well, I didn't say that to anybody. I said peacefully and patriotically. And Nancy Pelosi, if you just watched the news from 2 days ago, on tape to her daughter, who's a documentary filmmaker, they say, but she's saying, oh,
You know what that
it's
means?
my responsibility. I was responsible.
That's what that means.
Because I offered 10,000 soldiers or National Guard.
Just give it a
And
nice
she turned
name.
them down. And the mayor in writing, by the way, the mayor, in writing, turned it down, the mayor of D.C. They turned it down. I offered 10,000 because I could see, I had virtually nothing to do. They asked me to go make a speech. I could see what was happening. Everybody was saying they're going to be there on January 6th. They're going to be there. And I said, you know what? There's a lot of people coming. You could feel it. You could feel it too, and you could feel it. And I said, they ought to have some National Guard or whatever. And I offered it to her. And she now admits that she turned it down. And it was the same day she was, I don't know, she can't be very happy with her daughter because it made her into a liar. She said, I take full responsibility for January 6th.
He's just throwing bombs everywhere.
Yeah,
isn't
bro,
he?
but he's full of ammo. He
He
knows what to say.
encouraged those folks to go up and capture him.
He's Clint Eastwood at this point.
He's dying.
Be careful what you eat.
The more we're going in, he's dying.
Being begged by his vice president and a number of his colleagues on the Republican side as well to do something, to call for a stop, to end it. Instead, they talked about these people being patriots and great patrons of America. In fact, he says he'll now forgive them for what they've done. They've been convicted. He says he wants to commute their sentences and say that no. He went to every single court in the nation I don't know how many cases, scores of cases, including the Supreme Court, and they said, no, this guy is responsible for doing what was done. He did do a damn thing.
It hurts.
And these people
It
should
actually
be in jail.
hurts.
And they should be the
cringy.
ones
To watch him,
being
yeah.
held
It's
accountable.
cringy, man.
If
It's
he
really
wants to
bad.
let them all out, and now he says if he loses again, such a whiner that he is, that it could be a bloodbath.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump?
What they've done to some people that are so innocent, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. What you have done, how you've destroyed the lives of so many people. When they ripped down Portland, when they ripped down many other cities, you go to Minnesota, Minneapolis, what they've done there with the fires all over the city. If I didn't bring in the National Guard, that city would have been destroyed. When you look at all of they took over big chunks of Seattle. I was all set to bring in the National Guard. They heard that, they saw them coming, and they left immediately. What he said about this whole subject is so off. Peacefully patriotic. One other thing. The Unselect Committee, which is basically two horrible Republicans that are all gone now out of office, and Democrats, all Democrats, they destroyed and deleted all of the information they found because they found out we were right. We were right. And they deleted and destroyed all of the information. They should go to jail for that. If a Republican did that, they'd go to jail.
Thank you, President Trump. President Biden, I want to give you a minute.
The only person on this
Again.
stage is a convicted felon is the man I'm looking at right now.
And here we
And
go.
the fact of the matter is, what he's telling you is simply not true. The fact is that
It's always the
there
argument.
was no effort on his part.
Yeah,
to
but now
stop
he
what was
touched-
going
he
on
touched him,
up in
so
Capitol
now-
Hill. And all those people.
Right, all right,
every
you
one
wanna
of them
play that
convicted
card? All right.
Deserves to be convicted. The idea
Where
that
can
they
he
didn't
hurt
kill
him, you
somebody,
think?
just went in and broke down doors,
No,
broke
his
the
son.
windows,
His son.
occupied offices,
Fucking
turned over
cocked out of
desks,
his head in the
Yeah,
White
yeah,
House.
yeah.
turning
What
over
was the
statues.
answers?
The idea that those people are patriots, come on. When I asked him the first two debates we had, first time around, I said, will you denounce the Proud Boys? He
Trump's
said, no, I'll
holding
tell
back
them to
big
stand
time.
down.
He could have demolished
The
him
idea
ages
he's
ago with
refusing
his son and
will
this
you
and that.
denounce these guys?
He's saving it.
He's
You denounce
tactical.
the
He's
people
very,
we're
yes,
talking
he
about
knows
now?
exactly what he's
You
doing.
denounce the
He's
people
learned
who
from the
attacked
last
that
one, hasn't he?
Oh,
Capitol.
bro, he's got
What are you going to do?
50 years experience, bro.
I'm going to give you a
debates.
minute, President Trump, for a follow-up question I have.
For a follow-up
After a
question.
jury convicted you of 34 felonies last month, you said if
This
reelected,
is such
you
shit.
would, quote,
Yeah.
have every right to
No.
go after, unquote, your...
Listen to how it went. He didn't. They talked about one subject, yeah,
Yeah.
and he's picked on the one comment that Biden said that.
Because
Follow up on that. Yeah, fuck
Nothing
everything
about the
else.
rest of what
yeah,
he
but,
just said.
but Trump knows this. He knows how media works.
These
he knows
CNN
CNN.
fuckers.
They're with
He
Biden.
knows.
Oh yeah, oh
They're
yeah.
with Biden.
But
Fake
like,
news.
It's so fucking obvious. Though.
Look, the argument when
Yeah,
he-
but to the average person in America that's consuming cheeseburgers every day and drinking Coca-Cola, that's having an unhealthy lifestyle, they don't realize these things.
But that's the whole argument right now, that news organizations and journalists, they shouldn't be left or right.
No,
They
it should
shouldn't-
be unbiased.
They
It
should
should be
be
neutral.
unbiased because they're supposed to be the ones to uncover the truth.
Yes.
You know, that's how they started to exist, journalists. And
They were detectives,
and all-
basically.
Exactly.
Truth.
Civilian detectives,
Yes.
to make sure that the government isn't screwing you over.
Yeah.
But now they're
employed
picked
by the
sides.
government.
So you gotta
Crazy, man.
Yeah, if you watch the same debate,
on Fox News or the opposite of
And
CNN.
that's what makes you
Yeah.
scared. Because if the fucking people that are videoing they've got a side, what about the judges?
Exactly,
Yeah,
of course.
yeah, yeah,
But
but
that's
they do
why
it as well.
that's
Yeah,
why
I mean-
people like Rogan, Tucker Carlson, Shapiro,
Yeah.
because a lot of the times they try as much as they can to stay in the middle,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah,
just
yeah.
give me the truth. Give me the truth. What's the fucking truth? That's it. That's what I want.
Yeah.
Right. And I think let's remind everyone to like, subscribe, comments. How's it going so far? I'm not giving Biden a lot of fucking chance.
No.
Here after this debate so
Bro,
far.
you know
far,
what?
nothing.
If he does come out, it will be absolute proof. If he is the president again, it will be absolute proof.
Of rigged system. Yeah.
You know, because at this point, it's just too obvious.
Yeah. No,
I don't think they want him there, do they? The Americans, like, they've realized what a fucking joke it's
Yeah,
become.
but bro, as we said, he might be just a puppet.
So how are these two the only,
I think
the only
Michelle
options?
Obama's in it.
It's
Michelle
I think
Obama's in
they've
it,
done-
I reckon.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. They've done maybe a few elections and it's them. They represent each side.
But this is what I'm saying. How is this the the cream of the crop, you know?
It's not.
How
That's
are
what
they-
that's what they're giving us. Trust me, there's people out there that could save the world. Bro.
It's not about who's going to change the country for the best. It's about who's
gonna make more money.
Who's
There is-
easiest to get elected.
manipulate.
To get elected and
And
manipulate.
who generates money and who generates this and who, you know.
But I think let's
What
take
are
a
we
break.
watching?
Yeah.
We go. Come in a break.